Scott Ritter, he basically mentioned that this Oreshnik missile that Russia has in its arsenal is a essentially death sentence for all of Europe, and it would also be a death sentence for United States. Why? Because it is also coming from Putin himself. He said that the missile, Oreshnik missile they have, cannot be intercepted, cannot be stopped by any country in the world for the next, at least, he said, at least 2 years, coming from Putin. Here you have a speech from Putin a few months ago when he talked about NATO. Listen to this speech, very, very important, and then I will talk to you about Scott Ritter, his comments on Russian president's recent address to the nation about this Oreshnik missile.
They fooled us. We've seen 5 waves of NATO expansion. Now they're in Romania and in Poland, and they're deploying the relevant attack systems over there. That's what we're talking about. You should finally understand, we're not threatening anyone. We did not come to the US borders or to the UK borders. No, they came to our borders, and now they're saying that Ukraine will also join NATO and they will deploy their systems there. Or not just NATO, they will simply deploy it on a bilateral basis. They will deploy their military bases and their attack systems. That's what we're talking about. Why did you have to do that? You should have done something different, perhaps treat Russia as a possible ally and strengthen trust. But no, instead you tried to keep breaking us up, and then you started the NATO expansion to the east. We were saying, don't do that, you had promised you wouldn't. And they say, where is it put in written form? Nowhere. Well, then F off, and we don't care about your concerns. And every time we kept responding and trying to make obstacles, we were expressing our concerns about that. But they say no. So you can do whatever you want about your concerns. We will do whatever we need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've witnessed 5 waves of NATO expansion. Why can't they understand? What is unclear? I believe everything is clear. We are thinking about our own security.
Yeah, that is as simple as it goes. Russia has the right to defend itself. Ironically, US State Department, Anthony Blinken, including Joe Biden, they always repeat this same tape. Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself. But when it comes to Russia, oh, no. We're going to expand NATO. We're going to bring NATO to Ukraine. And we're going to spy on Russia and make sure that we know everything they're doing. They have no right to defend themselves. It's the only state that has the right to defend itself is Israel, not Iran, not Russia. And guess what? When they try to defend their own countries, their own territories, they're being called the aggressors. They're called the destabilizer of the world peace. This is exactly what is happening right in front of us, guys. I don't have to quote you anything. I don't have to share any video with you to prove my point. We have seen this over and over again. US officials, including Joe Biden, Anthony Blinken, saying the same thing. Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself. When it comes to Russia, when it comes to China, when it comes to Iran, nobody else matters. So why this double standard? How ludicrous and how hypocritical that is. You guys are really making yourself a circus, a clown in the circus. That is exactly what you're doing, US officials. Unfortunately for the US citizen, the American people, they have these clowns in the government who are being controlled by the lobbyist, by the Zionist lobby, and they look to us as if they are now a laughing stock. They're all laughing stocks. Because they blew it on our faces every single time by showing their double standard, by showing their true color every single time. Now, this is the guy. I want you to know who he is, Sebastian Gorka. This guy you have to know before you know anything about what is Trump going to do against Russia. This is the guy who says we must help Ukraine and we're going to open the floodgate of weapons to Ukraine if Putin does not surrender. We're going to give Ukraine more and more weapon. And the money they have sent to Ukraine, as we know, they're billions and billions and billions of dollars. He said those military aid to Ukraine under Joe Biden was just a peanut of what is coming. And this is for you guys. Sebastian Gorka, he is going to be Trump's advisor for the counterterrorism. He's the chief director. And Trump is letting him speak his mind. And he is speaking his mind and making it absolutely clear to all of us that U.S. will supply weapon to Ukraine and they have no problem going to war with Russia, which is absolutely lunatic, but this is exactly what they are propagating every single day. So when Trump talks about, oh, our administration, my administration is going to be the administration of peace and not war, he was lying. He lied to the American people. And unfortunately, people bought it. And they voted him. And now that he's in power with this kind of guy in his administration, you can only imagine the horror that is about to ensue. Now, take a listen at this particular conversation a little bit, and then I'll make some points.
Is President Putin on Friday afternoon very methodically and calmly explaining the Oreshnik missile system. Cut number 1.
The Oreshnik missile system isn't simply an efficient hypersonic weapon system. Thanks to its power, particularly in the case of its massive use in combination with other precision long-range weapons that Russia has, the results of its use against enemy targets would be comparable in effect, and its power to strategic weapons. Although, in fact, the Oreshnik system is not a strategic weapon. In any case, it is not an intercontinental ballistic missile. No one in the world has such weapons yet, as we know, as you know.
Take a look at his facial expression. Did you see the smile? Keep that in mind because it will be handy in our discussion in a second. So again, this smile. Nobody has a response to this Oreshnik missile. Wow.
Sooner or later, other leading countries will also get them. We are aware that they are already under development. But this will not happen tomorrow, or in a year, or even 2 years. While we have this system now, I will add that there are no means of counteracting such a missile. No means of intercepting it. In the world today, they don't exist. And I will emphasize once again, we will continue testing the latest system. Considering the special strength of this weapon, its power, it will be put into service in the strategic missile forces. In addition to the Oreshnik system, several similar systems are currently being developed in Russia for further testing. Based on the results of the testing, this weapon will also go into serial production.
Wow.
That is, we are developing a whole line of medium and shorter range systems.
The new missile could be fitted with nuclear and conventional warheads. It can reach targets across the entirety of Europe.
Wow.
I've been watching Vladimir Putin for years.
Right.
He is the most stoic, professional person, especially in that environment. Judge, did you see his face? He couldn't contain the smile.
Yeah.
He was sitting there smiling. He was speaking because, I mean, he knows that. I mean, he's like the guy that knew because he kept warning the West, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. They go, you're bluffing, you're bluffing, you're bluffing, you're bluffing. He's like, no, this is going to happen. Now he's out there like.
Okay, so the video that I showed you, I played to you guys. This video is from 2022. I have a reason to mention the year. Even though I said a few weeks ago this video was posted, but I was wrong. It is actually from February of 2022, as you can see on the screen. Now, the reason I want to make a point here is because this is what he said almost 3 years ago. This is what Putin said when he invaded or he started this special military operation in Ukraine. That was the time he said to the West, you do not have answer to those weapons I have in my arsenal. And 3 years later, we are seeing his promise, his words came true in the form of this Oreshnik missile that cannot be intercepted. I mean, how much more evidence does the West need that this guy is not bluffing, that he's not making empty words? I don't know, but I'm just laying it out for you guys to see because it's so clear. Nobody needs to do a rocket science study or research or Google it or nothing. It's right on our faces, guys, that Putin said it, and it is happening at the moment. So if Putin said right now that there will be World War III in 2 years or 1 year or after a month or 6 months, we have to believe that. Because this guy is never bluffing, as the West wants us to believe that he is bluffing, but it is not the case. Let's take a listen a little bit more from Scott Ritter.
Like I told you it was going to happen. And you could see the smile. I've never seen him that close to losing his composure that way, because, you know, he's a very serious man, but the absolute joy that he felt being able to prove to the world that Russia is the most powerful nation on the planet.
And that is so true. That is so true. And this is not what the Zionist lobby, they want us to believe or even being entertained by, because this is such a blow to their image. They believe they have built this empire that can never cease to exist, the American empire, the British empire. Now you have Russia building this weapon, Oreshnik missile and all that, and you are telling me that what we have means nothing all of a sudden? No, the Zionists, they want to prove a point. This war against Russia, using Ukraine as a proxy, is a war of ego. It's a war of ego. It is a war of proving their supremacy, the Zionists, the Jews' supremacy. It is not a war about Ukraine. It is not to protect the people of Ukraine or people of the United States. Nobody. It is a war of ego. They have money. They have weapons, so they go to Iraq, they go to Iran, they go to Syria, Libya, Lebanon, Libya, everywhere to make a statement to us that fear us. This is what this Zionist lobby has become. They want us, all of us, to fear them. And when we don't, they ban us. They throw us in prison. And for countries, they invade them, they attack them, they destroy them completely. They kill millions of people. What they did in Iraq and Afghanistan, just take a look. So guys, this is an open book for us, how the West is dealing with this kind of nonsensical policies and ending up jeopardizing all of our lives, and might even make the whole world cease to exist. Thank you guys for some comment. Andy Fashion City, Skipper, Abdul Karim. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Have one.